I'm left wondering how many people who attend training courses end up suffering Stockholm Syndrome. For those unfamiliar, Stockholm Syndrome is named after a hostage situation, oddly enough, in Stockholm, where the bank robbery had gone wrong, and after it was all sort of sorted out by law enforcement, the hostages within that bank spoke out in favour of the hostage takers, and the term Stockholm Syndrome was created. Now, essentially, there's lots of arguments whether Stockholm Syndrome is real, but essentially, in some situations, the hostage taker is seen in a sympathetic light. Because when we see the predator, the nasty person, the criminal on the news or in the movie, they're usually presented to us as a single entity, single dimension entity. But of course, when you spend a lot of time around a person and see their desperation, you see their humanity, it often draws out empathy and sympathy in ordinary people, which is quite understandable. So they see the humanity of the person. Now, when we look at how people defend the highly predatory, highly narcissistic trainers that frequent the personal development scene, and I agree with Sam Vaknin on this one. If you haven't checked out Sam Vaknin's Narcissism channel on YouTube, you really must. He says that the essentially personal development, the coaching as a whole field, has been completely overrun and taken over by narcissists, simply because it's ideological. There's nothing that can be objectively measured. They find themselves ready-made audiences. They are predating upon the desperate, the needy, the people who are seeking something, and they can present themselves to be the Messiah. They present themselves to be the person who's saving humanity. You only have to look at NLPers, particularly. I'm sorry to pick on the NLPers again. Actually, I'm not sorry at all. But people in the personal development area, the alphabet therapies, and look at the grandiosity, look at the extent by which people portray themselves. They can heal cancer, they can raise the dead, they can cure humanity. They're basically experts on everything. And that there's a certain grandiosity that goes with that. Where you see grandiosity, you see narcissism. And it's worth paying attention to that. You'll also see the superficiality by which they operate. They'll throw out lots of claims, never back it up, never give evidence, don't demand evidence. They just get nasty. And simply what happens is if you call them out on their stuff, counter allegations, counter rumors get generated against the person asking the question. Now, lots of people attend the training courses and ask those questions, but gaslighting now takes place. You see, if I don't agree with what's being said and I've got evidence to the contrary, well, Mr. Austin, you have limiting beliefs, and we can help you with those limiting beliefs. Yeah, but this is bullshit. Nah, you see, you're just saying that because you're a polarity responder. You are somebody who naturally is a polarity responder, therefore we can help you with that too. Yeah, but this is bloody expensive. I don't think I can afford that. You see, we need to check out your framework about money and your beliefs about money, because if it was important enough, you'd find the money. You see, smokers say they're hard up for cash, but they can always buy cigarettes. And there's plenty of stuff you spend money on because you think that's more important. Your issue is you don't value this training. Sign up for our platinum level. Essentially, whatever objection gets raised, there's inbuilt into the psychological, philosophical model that's being taught, there is a way to handle that. And that's being sold and taught as though this is psychology, this is therapy. These assholes then who end up with Stockholm Syndrome because they go, oh my God, these trainers are amazing. No, they're not. They're assholes. But they go, they're amazing. Now go away and they start diagnosing their paying members of the public, their clientele, as having as having limiting beliefs, as being polarity responders, as having beliefs around money. And they replicate the gaslighting that they were themselves subjected to. And they now become the repeaters of the model. And then they reach the pinnacle of success. They become a trainer in the model themselves, and the cycle repeats all over again. Now, some arsehole like myself comes along, and I've been called an arsehole a lot this week, funny old thing, and starts saying, well, hang about. Let's call out some of these people who are actually predators, actually documentable, lying, predating individuals. That is all with the police, by the way. And what happens? People come out and defend them. Does anyone come out and go, yeah, the guys are... Do they do that? They don't. They don't. There has been deafening silence. Now, I've had lots of messages from people all go, oh, I've heard about him. Oh, I had an encounter with him and he did X, Y, and Z. Well, why are you telling me? Why are you telling me in private? Oh, that's right, Andy, you take it on, mate. You take it on. We'll support you. We'll be right behind you, Andy. Aren't you people supposed to be coaches, therapists, geniuses, leaders of humanity, raising the dead? And you can't even speak out publicly on something you know to be true when you have someone out there who's a predator. Do they do anything? They do nothing. But they're happy for me to do it. And they're also happy to gossip. I see what people write on Facebook. I've seen what people write on the forums. You've heard things. I know you've heard things. Why? Because other people have told you. And people told them, people told them, people told them. Did anyone ask for evidence? No, of course not. No one asks for evidence. When I exposed Kevin Lay, I posted all the evidence. There's a lot of stuff I've not posted. There's a lot of stuff that's gone to the police. And yet, still people keep talking to me and telling me their stories. Can I get anyone else to send that stuff to the police? No. Can I get anyone else to come out publicly and say it and post screenshots? No. And yet you're happy for me to do it. So how can I explain this behavior? Stockholm Syndrome. It's the only way. Surely what's happened is, you go, well, he's a nice guy, really. I had someone tell me that today. I support him because he means well. Yeah. Here's a weird thing. Peter Sutcliffe, he was the Yorkshire Ripper. I think he's a world record holder for the number of proposals of marriage. Most serial killers, most killers, narcissists, and really bad people who have high priority, they have legions of people swearing dying love to them. Offers of marriage. So many of them have been married multiple times, even though they're serving life and no possibility of coming out of prison. It's amazing to me that people behave this way. The same mindset is inside the personal developing and coaching world. The same mindset is in people, and those people are therapists and coaches too, and they will acquiesce and support the gaslighting trainers. Why? It's something in human nature. They strive towards the narcissist. They look to them as examples. They're held up to be something to aspire to. And meanwhile, what happens is the same people will send me messages to say, why doesn't anyone do anything? The question you should be asking is, why aren't you doing anything? That's the important question. Why are you leaving it to everyone else to take what you think to be a risk? You do something.